Good morning, everybody. A happy Monday morning to you. I hope everybody had a fabulous and safe July 4th weekend. For me, it was fabulous to unplug, get offline, and just enjoy time with my family. We had yet another cookout. But there's a lot in here. Again, a super long video. So let's just buckle up and jump in because the story is forever changing with Harry and Meghan. Let's go. We're going to start off with Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, who handed out the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. He gave a speech. He congratulated attendees, telling them that they should all be incredibly proud and walk a few inches taller. And then he shared a personal memory of his own Duke of Edinburgh experience, as well as one of his father's, Prince Philip's, legendary quips. He said, most people go straight to the expedition as the most challenging thing. We did ours in Scotland in May and it snowed, which is actually preferable to rain as you don't get as wet. The downside is your boots tend to freeze overnight, which is not so pleasant. However, one thing that is ingrained in my memory is my award celebration. Usually my father would give the bunch of award certificates to a presenter to distribute, but this time he talked to our group, gave me my certificate, and then said, well, since I've given you that one, I'll give you the rest, and handed the lot to me to hand out. Louise was at the palace at Holyrood, and that's where she was, and she was with her boyfriend, her college boyfriend, Felix da Silva Clamp, who she met at St. Andrews. He apparently is Australian. Edward walked in with a lot of other guests. They all stood around, they spoke, and then Edward moved Lady Louise over to where the other guests were standing, and he said, yeah, it's all a bit staged, but it's just to prove that you actually did get it. And he handed her the certificate and said, many congratulations and very well done. Now there's bronze, silver, and gold, and Lady Louise earned the gold. There were more than 600 young people at the awards being celebrated that day with the event at the Palace of Holyrood House. And this year, by the way, marks the 70th anniversary of the award, which we know was started by Prince Philip in 1956. Now, after speaking about the bronze, silver, and gold awards, Edward turned and pointed at Lady Louise, saying, we've got someone else who's actually done all three. And Louise looked up and goes, just about. And then Edward asked her if she'd ever been given a certificate. And she said, well, I had, but they arrived in the post because she did hers mainly during COVID. So they weren't awarding anything. So she said, it's nice to get it now. I have to say, I think it's very touching that Edward was able to hand his daughter the award after his father handed him his award. You know what I mean? That's a nice tradition. And by the way, a little extra something. The picture that was put out of Lady Louise when she graduated college, most people didn't notice, and neither did I, that the tie that Edward was wearing that day of, her graduation was the same tie that he was wearing as he carried Lady Louise out of the hospital after her birth. How touching and wonderful was that gesture? I just think that's fabulous. On another note, Louise grew up away from the family spotlight. She has no royal titles. As per the wish of her parents, she had the right to take the titles at 18, and she said, no, thank you. People are saying, though, that she could be the dark horse that the firm is looking for. And other people are thinking she's going to keep out of the public eye, as she's done most of her life, and support the monarch from afar. But you have to look at everything. She just graduated. She was dedicated to the armed forces. She has a hobby with horses, and she has a normal life, which is something I think that she was happy to have. We have the relationship rumors with her boyfriend. Who knows what her future will hold? Moving on, we have Lady Eliza Spencer and Amelia Spencer, Diana's nieces. They were at Wimbledon on Thursday, both looking absolutely gorgeous. Now, I want to stop here for just a second and put out a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce and Carol M. for showing us what Lady Louise and Sophie were wearing at this event, as well as what Diana's nieces were wearing at Wimbledon. All right, let's continue on. Also spotted was the Earl and Countess of St. Andrew. That's the son and daughter-in-law of the Duke of Kent. They were there at Wimbledon on day 5. And next up, we have Lady Marina Windsor, the eldest daughter of the Earl and Countess of St. Andrews. She is now sharing online the first photos of her gorgeous honeymoon with her new husband, Nico Macaulay. Remember, I covered the wedding, and they're apparently in Sardinia and Corsica Islands, and looks like they're having a fabulous honeymoon with good weather. Love it. Let's keep going. All right, let's move on now to the Duke of Kent. He visited the Alloway Wimpy Park in Alloway, Scotland. This took place on July 2nd. He's 90 years old, still working. I love it. He toured the community space and he presented the Wimpy Park Community Group with a crystal trophy and a certificate for winning the King's Award for voluntary service. This event marked the 10-year anniversary of the park's major refurbishment, and during the visit, the Duke met with local volunteers, charity workers from Home Start, and members of the Clackmannanshire Scouts. For those who don't know, this is a highly rated, vibrant, community-led park and garden, and it features modern kids' play area, a well-maintained community garden, and green spaces managed by a community group. They recently got an upgrade on their swings, their slides, and their play structures. They have gorgeous floral displays, seating areas, and community-led garden plots. And there's also a big area for dog walking and casual football. It was after that the Duke traveled to Leuchars Station in Fife, where he visited the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards in his role as Deputy Colonel-in-Chief. He met serving soldiers and officers, he got updates on the regiment's current activities, and he recognized the dedication of personnel serving at home and overseas. For those of you who don't know, the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards is one of Britain's Army's most distinguished cavalry regiments. It has a very proud history, goes back 3 centuries. It has served in major operations around the world, including Iraq and Afghanistan, and it plays an important role in the Army's armored capabilities. And the Duke of Kent has had a lifelong association with the armed forces and has spent decades supporting military regiments through honorable appointments. Let's move on to Prince George. We know that he's going to Eton, and that move has triggered an unprecedented security operation about his future education. There's going to be additional advanced surveillance technology. Specialist response teams are going to be deployed while he's there. I mean, anybody who's at that school is going to be well protected. Forget the fact that he's the future king. Other children will be very well protected. Former royal aide Jamie Lowther Pinkerton has advised George to live it and embrace the experience ahead of Eton College. You know, he spent a decade as the trusted confidant to Prince William and Harry. He spoke about the different societies and sensational facilities, and he basically advised students at these institutions should fully embrace the experience and recognize their fortune and emphasize the importance of paying back through public service or the military, that you're being given some privilege, don't waste it. It was a big milestone for William when he went to Eton. He was very happy there. He made some close friends that have endured since then, and that experience is bound to have influenced the family and George in picking the school. Eton was a really big haven for William, and it will give George a rigorous education that he's going to need for his future role. It's been reported George has always wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. And let's face it, the family might have wanted him to go to a certain place, but in the end, it really was George's decision to say, this is where I want to go. Good for him. Let's move on. Next up, we know we had July 4th. America celebrated their 250th anniversary with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And of course, the royal family put out a video showing how the King and Queen celebrated this milestone with everybody. How they went in April to Washington, D.C., New York, Virginia on a state visit to the United States in recognition of the occasion. And besides this fabulous video, the King also put out a message to President Trump and the American people. And it says, through centuries of shared challenge and achievement, our nations have built a relationship founded on friendship, trust, and a belief in liberty, the rule of law, and the dignity of all people. As we look ahead to the next 250 years, I have no doubt we will continue to defend our shared values. Of course, there's much more. You can go on the Royal Family website and read the whole statement for yourselves. All right, next up, I just wanted to throw this in. We found out that Princess Catherine was supported by James Middleton, her brother, during her Three Peaks Challenge. And as she descended Mount Snowdon, she actually had James's hand. And of course, one of the dogs was there as well. I think that's fabulous. Well, at the end, finally, what we have now is the pictures of the family meeting Catherine at the end of the trail. Enjoy. All right, let's move on now to Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. On July 2nd, she attended the Veterans Foundation 10th Anniversary Gala at the Honourable Artillery Company in London. Now, this gala dinner celebrated a decade of work by the Veterans Foundation, which has awarded over £38 million in grants to more than 1,000 grassroots military charities and projects, which supports UK veterans, serving personnel, and their families. Princess Anne joined armed forces community representatives, grant holders, corporate sponsors, and prominent military charity leaders. The event also had inspirational speeches from prominent military figures and ambassadors, including Simon Weston and Mark Omrod. And she arrived looking elegant in this yellow cream butter evening gown with the gloves. Now, we know that she's well known for her sustainable fashion choices, and she likes to rewear classic pieces from her personal wardrobe archive. This particular dress, I don't know where it came from, but she looked absolutely amazing. Of course, she always looks amazing. Let's continue. All right, let's move on to Prince William. Just hours before Taylor Swift's wedding, he appeared as a surprise guest on Travis Kelce's podcast. Here's how he was introduced.
Yes, today is the 6'3" prince from London, England. That's right, the president of the English Football Association, the vice-royal patron of the Welsh Rugby Union, the Duke of Cambridge, the Duke of Cornwall, the Lord of the Isles, Prince of Great Stewart of Scotland, Earl of Chester, and the Prince of Wales. Ladies and presenters, please welcome His Royal Highness Prince William!
That is quite an intro, guys. Amazing.
We had to do it big for you. Had to do it big.
There was a lot of interesting conversation. Like somebody asked, who got William into loving this sport so much? Listen to this.
Did your dad get you into Aston Villa, or is this your own doing?
Absolutely not. My father hates football.
Oh, no.
There was talks about protocol. There was talks about meeting the children. There was talks about all kinds of stuff. There was talks about raising daughters. Listen to this.
Coolest moments ever was meeting you and the little ones that day. Me and Jason joke about it all the time. We were so nervous to meet you guys and the royal family. And Jason has this running joke where he didn't know what to do with his beer.
Yeah, it wasn't a joke. It was reality. I don't know what. Well, you want to be respectful and know what the protocols and
of course
are. But no, it was awesome, and you were fantastic. The kids were great.
Yeah,
Charlotte, or Princess Charlotte, was still the highlight for me. I have 4 daughters as well, so I mean, she was great.
No, congratulations having 4 daughters. I don't know how you do that.
That is definitely.
They make it to the finals. You're gonna make the trip across the pond?
Definitely. If we're in the finals, I'll definitely be there.
Awesome.
I love it, man. Well,
maybe see you both there for the final.
Oh my gosh! Come on now, sign me up.
Arm me up.
Now, it's coming out that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and Prince William actually had a secret meeting with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in the run-up to the wedding. The meeting more than likely took place in May, about the time that Taylor and Kelce were in England. And it was then that William discussed being on the New Heights podcast, and they had asked him about if he was going to be at the wedding, and he said no comment and started smiling. He goes, obviously, I'm sure there'll be an invitation, but we'll have to see. Well, as it turns out, they were unable to attend the wedding, but it looks like there was a secret catch-up behind the scenes. It's a well-known fact that William has known Taylor Swift for quite some time, so yes, I'm sure they got an invitation. Just as an FYI, an insider was asked if Meghan was upset about not going to Taylor Swift's wedding, and the response was this, and I'm quoting, "I just don't think she wants to be in a room full of celebrities. I think she likes to be the most important person in the room. Honestly, she would go to the other side of the world to try to just not be included in a celebrity circus if it's not about her. She is so self-involved that if something's not totally about her, she's just not interested. She's that vain." Also being said, she might have some trepidation. After all, look what happened when she went to the 70th birthday party for, Kris Kardashian, that whole hullabaloo that happened because she demanded the pictures come down. Exactly. King Charles, apparently the royal household is advertising for a fire and security coordinator to join the team at the Palace of Holyrood. Now, we know that the king oversees an extensive workforce across his various residences, and this latest position offers an annual salary of a little less than £30,000 a year. It's someone, though, that needs to be able to handle sensitive information with precision and discretion. And the role involves protecting an environment of unique historic importance and someone who's detail-focused and methodical. By the way, whoever gets the job gets free lunch every day and free admission tickets to all royal locations. And so there are a few perks to working in this beautiful castle. Love it. Let's continue. All right, next up, I just wanted to touch on this. It's being said that King Charles and Andrew have no relationship at all. They have not spoken since the king stripped Andrew of his royal titles and privileges in October of 2025. And with all of the drastic measures that were taken to distance the crown from the scandal, and Andrew was evicted from his residence and relocated, and furthering the family's strain was his arrest. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's just move on. Let's move on to our Harry-Meghan stuff. It's being reported that Harry has made the dramatic decision to travel to the UK alone, leaving Meghan and the children in Portugal. And apparently this shift is coming as a result of the ongoing security concerns and the loss of his automated taxpayer-funded armed security protection. Now, we know that he's going to the countdown for the Invictus Games in Birmingham. Here's the thing. They're saying that they're not making the journey to London. They will not be in London. That doesn't mean that Meghan won't show up in other areas. They're still going to Althorpe. They're still going to be staying there. They're still taking the children to see Diana's grave. They're still getting Netflix footage. They're simply not taking the kids to London. Let me give you a little bit of what they're reporting. They're saying that Meghan was due to visit Birmingham on Friday, where she was set to join Harry at the Invictus Games engagement, and the visit had been carefully organized well in advance, but articles are claiming it's been thrown out. I don't believe that. I believe that Meghan is not going to miss a chance to prance around in her outfits at an Invictus event and then put it off on the one-off site, put it up on the one-off site. So do I think that Meghan is still going to show up at some events? Yes. Is she still going to go to Althorpe? Yes. She's simply not going to London. They are punishing the king and not allowing him to see the children. That's what this really is. It's about blackmailing the king. They are absolutely using the children as bargaining chips. 100%. But what it comes down to is Harry wants the full royal treatment. He wants to be recognized for his birth status. And the family wants his itinerary and public presentation to reflect his non-working status. Harry has tried to force himself back in there by basically announcing that he's still a working royal, but it hasn't worked. He is obsessed with being on the same level as William, and it has blown up in his face. Once again, GB News had something to say that was spot on. Listen to this.
The Duchess of Sussex, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet are not going to come to London with Prince Harry tomorrow, despite earlier suggestions that they would join him.
A change of plans apparently causing frustration, with sources claiming senior royals are tired of what they describe as the will they, won't they approach.
Yeah, I think we all are, aren't we? It's still unclear, apparently, whether Meghan and the children will join Harry for the rest of his visit, which is a bit later on in the week. But they're certainly not coming, as so many reporters predicted.
All right, shall we talk to Grant Harold, former butler to the King? Good morning. As you said, it's no real surprise, is it, all of this?
No, not at all. I mean, I think a lot of us were kind of thinking this was going to be the outcome, because obviously when we heard that he'd lost that court case, that's when it kind of almost cemented the fact that it was likely that he wouldn't want to bring his family. I think the thing that I'm really still struggling with, and I think we spoke about this before, is with all the security issues. I mean, the thing is, it's not saying that he doesn't get the security. It's on a case-by-case basis. So it's completely possible that he would get the royal protection that he wants while he's here. It's just not an automatic guarantee, and that's what the fight's about. But I would have thought on this visit, it's most likely that he would have had it.
But you sort of get the feeling, and I know we don't know, but you get the feeling that she doesn't want to come. She doesn't see any point, really. The children apparently have very strong American accents. They don't really know they're British, frankly. And that's that. She doesn't want to come.
I don't think she does. And let's be realistic. I mean, if you really cared about a family, and also, this is just from my point of view, you know, your husband's family, you would want to make an effort. Irrelevant, you think, you know what, we need to see, especially under the circumstances, you'd want to see these family members. So the fact that they're basing it on this legal battle, which, as I said, it doesn't guarantee they don't get it while they're here, it does seem like it's almost like an excuse not tough to come with the family. But it's sad because the King hasn't seen these grandchildren in, 4 years? So it's unfair on him, because, you know, the children have done nothing wrong in this, and they should have the right to see their grandparents. Yeah,
but it's interesting how it sort of ends up being spun that it's the King's fault for not arranging things around Harry, isn't it? I mean, that's the way that you get the impression they're trying to spin it anyway.
He's got no, do you know, with the greatest respect, yes, he's got control, but he's got no control over that kind of thing. You know, that's the Home Office, that's the Met. I mean, he's not going to get involved in that. He could contact them and say, look, do you think that that's not really what he's supposed to be doing? You know, that he's got to leave that to the powers that be to make those decisions, and he gets advised on it.
Oh, I agree. They're trying to spin it like the whole thing is the King's fault. It is not the King's fault. And I also agree with what this guy said. If they're so interested in family, they need to make an effort. And that also includes the other side of the family, Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, who she still isn't speaking to or having any communication with. If they really wanted the family to connect with family, that includes both sides of the family. Of course, Harry and Meghan's team are planting articles like this. Oh, the kids were so excited for the reunion with their grandfather. They just can't wait. And it's just being ripped away from them by the mean, horrible royal family. Get it? And they're also putting out articles saying that the children are unaware of the royal background and that he's the king. I call bunk on that. It's already been reported that Meghan is having the children addressed as prince and princess. Their titles are being used at home. The children are absolutely aware of their titles and their lineage. They know it. Now, another thing that Harry and Meghan are doing when they don't try to attach themselves to the memory of Diana, they try to attach themselves to the memory of the Queen. Oh, what the Queen said when she met Lilibet, blah, blah, blah. No mention, of course, the fact that they stole the Queen's childhood name and she was furious. This is straight out of the Harry and Meghan playbook. Did you know that my mother was Princess Diana? Did you know that my father is the king? Did you know that my grandmother was Queen Elizabeth? Give me respect. Yeah, that's straight out of their playbook. What it's come down to is the two of them have not succeeded as A-listers in Hollywood, and they're looking to arrange a future in Britain, which they've made hostile to them because of their behavior. What they do have is an international profile. The test was always how they used it. The problem is they're not trustworthy. People are pointing out that Harry and Meghan have hit a new low and are branding them agents of chaos. Let's be honest, everywhere they go, there's always problems. Truth of the matter is Harry and Meghan really needed this to work. Meghan's popularity has dropped so much. She's only at a 29% favorability in the United States, and even in the UK, they are at rock bottom. One of the biggest hurdles that Harry's going to have is getting over what he said about Camilla in his book. He called her a villain, dangerous, a wicked stepmother, accused her of trading private information to improve her own standing in the media, and his father loves her. That's one of the reasons they got evicted from Frogmore. I've told you before, and I'll say it again, if they had gone to the United States, didn't whine, and kept their mouths shut, they would be the most popular couple on the planet. But, All right, one more thing I want to throw into this video from Royally Sage. Remember, Harry hired a group to write up the report about, how there's all these, plots against him. Well, come to find out, one of the people that wrote up the report is Chris Sanchez. He is the vice president of Touchstone, 22 years of experience. He is Harry and Meghan's bodyguard. There he is, right there. I mean, this is who wrote up the report saying they needed protection. No wonder nobody took them at face value. And of course, all of this didn't stop Meghan from trying to flog her crap with some of the most childish ads I've ever seen. It's pretty obvious she's run out of money. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my father's book, which remains up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wishlist, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.